or two to connect.
Okay, got it.
Well, hello there, Carol Dockum here with Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. And I am so excited as we are continuing with our special business spotlights series here. And our special guest today, I absolutely love what she does. We actually met here in one of our virtual networking events that we host monthly at beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. And what I love about Barbara is I love how she helps women, women who have identified themselves as being too much. So I'd like to ask you this question. Have you been told that you are overly emotional, high, or high, too much, too bold, too stubborn, and just plain old too much? If you answered yes to any of those, then you are in the right place in the right space. Barbara is a clarity consultant who nurtures, inspires, and expands the too much woman move from overwhelm, confusion, and a lack of self-worth into clarity, confidence, and joy. She is on a mission to assist women to take off all of those bindings and free themselves authentically, to step into powerful, joyful, the person within themselves so that they can stand out in light of their truth and to shine. Please help me welcome Barbara Drohan Dooley. Welcome.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I am excited too, because I love that description. And I think many women have been identified or have been called, too much, maybe stubborn or very vocal. And I like to call that more leadership, right?
Right. When you really stand in your truth,
yes,
and you own your power, it can be very intimidating for other people. And then they project their fears, their insecurities, all of whatever is going on inside of them, they project it on you.
Oh yeah, and I know I have totally experienced that as well.
Yeah.
And it really is just stepping into your power, as you mentioned, and confidence. And I think culturally and as a society, we perceive women as like, as you said, too much. And there are other words that we've been called, but it's actually just having that confidence in whatever it is that you're doing, to step into that, whether it's a leadership position or just being too much. And so how do you help women when they are perceived to have been called too much, and or if they're concerned or worried about it? Tell us a little bit about how you help your clients with that too much factor, or being labeled too much.
Being labeled too much. Well, first off, we really try and identify, most of the women that I work with are empaths, and many of them don't know it, which, I mean, there's a difference between having empathy and being an empath, because when you're an empath, you actually take in other people's feelings and you have it inside of your body. And oftentimes, especially for women who do not know, that they're walking around with this committee of everybody else's opinions inside of them, directing them and guiding them and judging them. And so one of the major things that I do is I work with these empaths to really come into the clarity of what they want, but who are they in their own energy, and releasing that committee of opinions that really are better out here instead of in here.
I love that. And you're absolutely right. I think many empaths out there, maybe they don't even realize that they are, right? And I know I personally have been in, I can enter a room and feel the energy of the room, and or, individuals that may have high energy, which I'm more attracted to. I love high energy people, and I think we all do. They're happy, they're joyful, they've got high energy, they've got good vibes. And then you can come across individuals that have a lower energy, right? And we feel it, whether, and they may not even have vocalized anything. So I absolutely love that you do, and you're right. Many empaths don't even realize that they are. I'd love for you to share with us, how did you come to this work? Because I know you have been trained and have been trained by experts in hypnotherapy and energy, and I believe Reiki as well. But how did you land in this field and to become, the clarity coach that you are?
Right. Well, if I go way back to my childhood, I was and still am that too much child woman now, and was not very well received by my family. So by the age of 4, I stopped talking. And I mean, I would speak when I was spoken to, but for the most part, I was very, very quiet. So as I went through my life, I was very much so in the box because that was the only safe thing for me to do. And so my daughter was going off to college, and well, there were two things actually. The first thing that actually sparked my real interest in life, and just to start to question everything I had accepted as the truth, quotation marks, was when my dad and my father-in-law died unexpectedly 2 weeks apart, and they were diametrically different men. My dad was brilliant, very heady, second in his class at Northwestern, called the idea man, on the executive track. And my husband's dad was very gifted with his hands. They were raised in 2 totally different areas with 2 totally different kinds of families. So nothing about them was the same, except for that they died 2 weeks apart from each other, totally, after having lived totally the same life of being bitter, angry, unfulfilled. And that 1-2 punch for me of like, whoa, step back and take a look at this. They are so different as different can be. And they ended up in the same place. Miserable, totally miserable, not having lived out anything that brought them joy or happiness or fulfillment. And I thought, is this my fate? Is this what life has to offer? And I was just totally, it really put me into a place of, because when I stopped being me, I was 4. So I didn't have my logical, analytical mind on board. But now I did. And I was like, whoa, that was a huge wake-up call. And it took me many years to continue to process that. And I got married, had my kids. And my daughter, who's my youngest, was heading off to college. And I said, let's do a mother-daughter send-off celebration for your going off to college. And we went to Miraval in Tucson, Arizona. And when we were there, the first day, we couldn't sign up for any of the classes that they had because we got there too late. So we walked into this one class that was free, and it was all about this. It was energy, which I was totally in the box, didn't even really know what energy really was. And so they introduced me to this and the group in the room, this process called holographic memory recall. And it really is about working with the energy field to bring to peace things that happened in your life. And I realized, wow, this is for me, this was like, whoa, hugely eye-opening. And I decided I'm going to learn more about it, get certified in it, and dive in. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And turns out that I was living in Chicago at the time. 2 weeks later, they were having the certification class within walking distance from my house. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did. I started there, and then it was like kind of Alice in Wonderland. I just dove down the rabbit hole and just went into the plethora of all kinds of energy classes and hypnosis. I did that, loved that. that I was taught that in alignment with Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction and all of that, and what do you want? So really very strong in my mindset piece. And so let's see, what else, where else
I
do
love that.
Yeah.
I know I'm a huge Abraham Hicks follower myself. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think once you realize the power of our minds, our, you know, our emotions, our energy, our feelings, and how that really dictates and sets the tone for the quality of life that we live,
Mhm.
and that we can actually manage all of those things. You know, we just normally aren't taught how, you know, that's something we're not taught as children, you know, how to manage our emotions and our feelings.
Yes, well, and I
And
like to say there's emotions are standard equipment on all models of humans that are born, you know, just like a steering wheel is standard equipment on a car. And I was taught that emotions were bad and just deny it and, you know, move on. And
right,
so, you know, my role model was my dad, who was like a screamer, and my mom, who was quiet as could be, and there was nothing, you know,
right.
nothing in between. So I was like, ooh.
Right, exactly, exactly. So I absolutely love what you do, because I'm all about, you know, success, right? And work-life balance. And when we understand, you know, the very simple philosophy and principles behind what you do, that can help us really lead joyful lives, happy, fulfilling, and it helps us also be successful, you know,
Mhm.
successful not only just in terms of business, because I love business. I support small business owners and entrepreneurs. That's what our program is all about here. But you know, it does boil down to our mindset. And I'm
Mhm.
not sure what the statistics are. I think I read somewhere that 80% of success is mindset, and 20% is strategy. So, you
Yeah,
know, and I think about that Henry Ford quote, which is one of my favorite quotes. If you think you can, or if you think you can't,
right,
you're right.
right.
So it really does boil down to that, and what you do really can help, you know, in
Right.
terms of success, in relationships as well. So it's relationships, you know, whether they're with your family members, your spouse,
With yourself.
coworkers, or with yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a
Yeah.
lot of it is, you know, mindset can be like a disembodied head. So a lot of my work is getting into your body and settling into it, and you know, working with what's there. And what I like to do is really be playful and creative, and just kind of go with the flow and see what your expression is, and how do you need to move with this, and how can we just open you up and expand your heart and your energy, and just whoo, you know, see you shine
Yes.
even though you've been judged, you know, putting that in perspective of almost compassion for people who have judged you. Because I know that the mindset of people who judged me was, I can't get away with this, so I'm not letting you get away with it. And okay, but you know, deep down in my heart, I just knew that I didn't have to settle. And they didn't like that. They just
Right.
didn't. They didn't like that. That didn't suit them very well. So
Right, right. And I mean, you're absolutely right. We are all judged all the time, right? And it's just a matter of how do we either receive it, or, you know, deal with it. Yeah, and I think a lot of that judgment is a reflection of the other person. So
oh, for sure.
I think what you just shared with us. So, well, I would love to hear of an example of maybe a client that you were able to help
Mhm.
through your work and your programming, and what you have to offer to help your clients.
Yes, and when I was, excuse me, when I was really focused on being a hypnotist, I'm really kind of moving into other areas as well, just combining everything together. But I had this smoking cessation client, and she came to me, and I thought, oh, you know, for me, I really didn't fit into the hypnosis world. I wasn't really interested in smoking, you know, all the traditional things that hypnosis is for. But I thought, well, I'll take her and we'll focus on her emotions and see what comes up. So I took her on as a client and we were doing very well working with her emotions. And one day she came to me and she said, I think I'm going to go back to school and learn to become a nurse. And I was like, cool. Do you want to talk about that under hypnosis? And she was like, sure. And what most people don't understand is that you can lie when you're under hypnosis. You can, you know, you're totally in control. It's just kind of taking your logical, analytical mind and quieting it. It's always there. And letting your more subconscious, the broader perspective of you come through. And so as we were talking, and there's no way for me to know this, she came up and she said, you know what? I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be a female home builder. I have built chairs and tables and room additions. And for me, feeling like I hadn't really fit anywhere in the hypnosis world, it just like all my bells and whistles went off. I knew that I had hit on something for me because it wasn't that traditional female role because that's what we think, right? Oftentimes, I'm just going to go in, you know, female roles, teacher, nurse, you know, all of these, you know, excuse me, type of things. And she was just lit up like a Christmas tree, and I was as well.
I love it. Yeah. So she became a home builder. Is that correct?
She did. She
Wow.
did. And, you know, she was miserable in the job that she was at. And, you know, she
Yeah.
took off. And of course, you know, the lessons that I have to learn or had to learn was really like, I can assist them in coming to a place like that. And then it's up to them to decide to go with it or not, which was,
Right.
you know, always an interesting thing. And my work doesn't only work with, let's say, their job or their life purpose. It's just your whole life. It's just, you know, honestly, your whole life and how to bring that into alignment with you and your truth and your core and your authenticity to shine.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you're right. I mean, life is a journey, right? And
Mhm.
I think about my career history and how it's so interesting to look at it in terms of how, with every position that I held or every venture that I embarked on, you know, it was like it was the right time at the right place in that moment in time. But eventually, you know, I evolved and outgrew it, and it's I just think it's so interesting, you know, when I talk to others as well and hear their journey of, you know, what inspires them, what lights them up.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's like when you find something that lights you up, then that's where you need to be. That's what you need to create and where you need to go,
Mhm.
and enjoy that until it's no longer fulfilling.
Well, we have, you know, we've been cultured. I call it the cultural Kool-Aid. You know, we've been almost programmed not to do that. You know, selfish, whatever, just, you know, in my family, it was all about survival. And my dad actually said, you know, I was paying for my own college. And he said, what are you going to major in? And of course I was like, well, I mean, that was one thing I knew about myself. I'm a teacher. And I said, teaching. And he went ballistic on, you know, there's going to be no jobs for you when you get out. You're going to be wasting all this money and that. Well, of course, again, I handed over my power and went to college, not in what I knew at the core of my being. And it was another interesting experience. And what I've learned is not to judge it. Like, it took me a long time not to judge that experience as being like, well, I was off track. I learned, I gathered a lot of experiences that took me there and brought me back here.
Exactly. Yep. You're absolutely right. We kind of grow and evolve as we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of fun. So, well, Barbara, this has been such a joy to spend this quality time with you and to just hear about how help women that are too much or they've been labeled too much, called too much.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'd love to learn a little bit more or share with our viewers here, where is the best place that they can either connect with you or, if they are kind of stuck and they're looking for how to find that clarity to shine in their own authenticity, in their own unique authentic self, about your upcoming program as well.
Right. Yes. In November, I'm launching a group program for the too much woman to really just evolve and expand and really own your truth and have some fun in life. And so my website is barbaradooley.com. My Instagram is Barbara Drohan Dooley. And my Facebook page is Barbara Drohan Dooley as well. So yeah, reach out and contact me because I'm interested in having fun. If you're interested in expanding and having fun in the process, creatively, playfully, I'm not interested in being a talking head. It's more of an experiential type thing. So
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Barbara. This has been so much fun. And I love that you use the word fun because if it's not fun, I don't want to do it.
I mean, isn't it the truth? I mean, some of
It is
it
the truth.
may not be fun, but that's the intention. It's woven
Yes.
all creatively, playfully, moving through, coming to, your best next steps and embracing it.
I love it. All right, Barbara, thank you so much. I will be sure to share her links below and connect with Barbara if you want to learn more about her upcoming program, which just launched yesterday, November 1st. So
Yes.
the doors are open.
The
Connect with
doors
Barbara.
are open. Let's do this.
Let's do this. 2022 is just right around the corner.
I
So,
know. So
all
excited.
right. Thank you so much, Barbara. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day,
Sis Carol.
everyone.